Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're really cutting through some of the noise that frankly keeps Australian C-level executives and business owners awake at night.
hmm
Things like slow reports, those operational costs that creep up unexpectedly, and, the fragmented data systems that just seem to block real growth.
I'm Vera, and I'm here with Lex. We're from the C9 Podcast Show. And yeah, today our mission is pretty sharp, pretty specific. We're looking at source material focused on these cutting-edge enhancements in Microsoft SQL Server Analysis Services, SSAS,
Yeah.
specifically what's coming in SQL Server 2025. We really want to show you how features like Horizontal Fusion and some critical DAX improvements can deliver, well, genuinely lightning-fast, profit-driving insights. And that's crucial in the competitive Australia market right now.
Absolutely. And look, as C9 Australia's leading developer in custom software, database development, AI integration, we see these frustrations firsthand every single day. So our goal today is to help you transform those familiar barriers, things like, data silos or maybe bad experiences with vendors in the past. Turn those into actual, concrete, measurable breakthroughs.
Okay, so let's unpack this a bit. If you're an executive listening, you probably know the daily grind all too well. It's that frustration, isn't it, with the outdated legacy systems? The ones where it takes maybe an hour, maybe more, just to run a critical sales report.
Yeah, that lag is killer.
And this slow pace, it directly leads to missed growth targets. It inflates costs because your staff are stuck manually combining spreadsheets, right?
Wasting time.
And it often means poor customer experiences because the data about them is scattered all over the place. Sometimes the systems are so clunky you even face resistance internally. Employees just dreading another promised upgrade that ends up being, well, a technical mess. Precisely. That latency and also that lack of trust in the data itself, it feeds the exact problem you just described. It's why advanced analytics isn't really optional anymore. It's become pretty essential. And the key source of buzz, the real excitement right now, it does center on SQL Server 2025, mainly because of these foundational enhancements in SS. And what's fascinating here, I think, is that these upgrades seem specifically designed to hit that core frustration point, the queries that just take forever, especially when dealing with large amounts of data, which, let's face it, is the norm for many growing Australian businesses. Right, so to understand the immediate impact, we really have to look closely at this thing called Horizontal Fusion. At its core, it's a query performance optimization technique. And it's actually quite elegant in its simplicity, really. Think of it maybe like fulfilling a massive shopping list.
Okay, I like that analogy. So explain the old way versus this new horizontal fusion way for us.
Sure. So in the, let's say, traditional setup,
Yeah.
every little custom calculation you make that's a DAX expression, it tends to generate multiple small SQL queries hitting the database. It's a bit like sending someone to the supermarket 100 times to buy just one single item each trip. Inefficient, right?
There.
Horizontal Fusion changes that mechanism. It basically consolidates those many small SQL queries into fewer, much more efficient ones. It effectively turns those 100 separate trips into maybe one highly optimized bulk order.
Okay, so instead of the source database getting hammered constantly with this flood of tiny repetitive requests that cause all the lag,
Exactly.
SAS under this new model kind of batches them up and asks one big smarter question instead.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
That sounds like a massive efficiency gain, especially I imagine when you're pulling live data like in DirectQuery mode.
It is. Especially potent in DirectQuery mode, you're right, where you are constantly pulling fresh data. The sources we've looked at are quite clear on this. By slashing the number of trips to the source system, Horizontal Fusion can potentially speed up reporting by up to a massive 50% just by minimizing all that query overhead.
Okay, 50%. That's a great headline number, but let's translate that for an executive listening. Where specifically would they feel that 50% gain? Is it just, say, reducing the time for a complex daily report from 4 hours down to 2? Or does it unlock something fundamentally new?
Well, it's potentially both, but
Yeah.
I think the fundamental difference is enabling genuine real-time decision-making. Think about it. If your supply chain manager previously got inventory data, say 4 hours after the close of business, they were always reacting to old news, weren't they?
Yeah, playing catch up.
Exactly. With a 50% speed gain, maybe they get that report almost instantly. That could allow them to actually change competitive pricing or adjust stock levels within the same business day, not waiting for tomorrow.
Right. That turns a performance statistic into a real, tangible, competitive edge.
I see. Okay, here's where, for me, it gets really interesting. We've got the speed from Horizontal Fusion, but we still need the complex custom logic, right? The bit that actually generates the profitability figures, the KPIs. And DAX data analysis expressions, that's the language powering that logic.
Hmm.
So SQL Server 2025 is bringing powerful new DAX functions and diagnostic tools too, things that enhance the actual data modeling and maybe troubleshooting.
Yes, and critically, these upgrades now support more sophisticated calculations running in parallel, even during those direct query executions. This helps eliminate that dreaded spinning wheel executives hate seeing during a live dashboard presentation.
Okay, okay.
We're seeing functions now that allow for really quite deep, sophisticated aggregations and filters, things that previously required cumbersome, often slow workarounds.
Can you give us an example, like one function that might really change the game for a business owner listening? Okay, consider competitive benchmarking. Using new functions like, say, rank or denser rank directly within the model. Executives could potentially instantly compare the profitability of their top 5 product lines this quarter against the same lines last quarter, or maybe even against anonymized industry benchmarks, all without hours of manual spreadsheet juggling.
Wow, okay.
You're also getting things like complex table expressions, CTEs. These allow for reusable query logic across potentially massive reports, which means your custom calculations stay cleaner, are easier to maintain, and perform faster.
And sort of looking ahead, future-proofing, we can't ignore the AI integration in SQL Server 2025, can we? This seems to be the trending buzz.
Definitely.
Things like built-in AI for semantic searches, these new vector data types, and even natural language query conversions.
That natural language part, that's really about the democratization of analytics. It means a manager, someone who isn't technical, could potentially just ask the data a question in plain English. Something like, show me the top 5 products sold in Sydney last week and compare their revenue to Melbourne.
Instead of needing a dedicated analyst to write a specific, complex query.
Precisely. We've seen this feature praised quite widely because it directly addresses a real pain point, maybe a high turnover among specialist data analysts. It makes analytics potentially accessible to more people, reducing that reliance.
Okay, so if we try to connect all this technical stuff back to the bigger picture, the outcome is clear business value, right?
Absolutely.
These upgrades, the speed, the sophistication, the accessibility, they translate directly into things executives care about, like meeting aggressive growth targets, potentially without needing to hire loads more IT staff. That's immediate cost reduction.
Yeah, that's a big one. And it drives higher profits, too, because your decisions are grounded in real-time, accurate data, not guesswork or stale reports.
And for those leading large organizations maybe worried about security or scaling this up.
Well, these features integrate pretty seamlessly with Azure for hybrid scalability. That's a key point. And this is facilitated by newer security features like intra-managed identities.
Okay, intra-managed identities. That sounds a bit like technical jargon. Can you translate that into an executive outcome? Why should I, as a CEO, care about that?
Fair question.
Okay.
You should care, because it means vastly simplified and more robust security management, essentially. It helps eliminate the headaches and risks of traditional password-based authentication when systems need to communicate, say, between Azure Cloud Services and your local SQL Server.
So less password management hassle.
Exactly. Your systems can securely talk to each other more automatically. That reduces human error, gets rid of problems like forgotten or weak passwords, and ultimately decreases your overall security management overhead. And that's absolutely critical for meeting Australian compliance standards.
Right. Okay, these technical advances, they sound fantastic, promising speed, simplicity. But often, with great power comes, well, great complexity, doesn't it? Is there a danger here, a risk in trying to implement these quite specialized features like horizontal fusion or sophisticated DAX modeling without the proper deep expertise?
This is where we really need to sound, a serious warning.
Yes.
While executives are naturally drawn to the promise of quick wins, the rise of what some of our sources are calling AI cowboys, freelancers maybe peddling vibes coding, is actually a critical trap. It can seriously aggravate your existing problems.
Vibes coding, I like that term. It perfectly captures this trend, doesn't it? Relying on vague, maybe generalized AI prompts to generate highly specialized code.
Without structured planning, yeah.
Without that deep understanding of systems like SSAS and DAX.
And the gray areas here are genuinely alarming. These kinds of approaches often produce brittle, unstable applications that just fail dramatically when you try to scale them. We saw a case recently of a major retailer where mismatched DAX functions, probably generated without proper oversight, meant they were calculating average transaction value based only on returns, not actual sales.
Oh, wow.
For 3 whole months. That's the real danger of vibes coding. These hidden fundamental bugs leading to completely inaccurate data. And then post-launch, you're facing skyrocketing maintenance costs, integration failures, and crucially, in regulated Australian markets, this puts you at immediate risk of non-compliance with consumer data laws.
Yikes. Okay, that raises a really important question then. If past vendor letdowns and cost blowouts are still fresh in mind, and this danger of vibes coding is real, how do Australian leaders actually choose a trustworthy vendor for such critical infrastructure upgrades? It feels like a minefield.
It can feel that way,
Yeah?
but you need to look for a partner who prioritizes, I'd say, knowledge transfer and sustainability, not just building something and walking away.
Yeah.
And that's really where C9's model aims to shine. We try to contrast with generic developers by using an innovative blended hybrid offshore and onshore team model.
Okay, hybrid offshore and onshore. What does that mean in practice?
It means you get the best of both worlds, essentially. Global cost efficiencies from offshore resources combined with local Australian expertise, project managers, architects, right here with you. That ensures seamless, often in-person collaboration without those time zone nightmares. We specialize in custom SSAS and database development that actually empowers your internal team over time rather than making them perpetually reliant on external consultants.
And for organizations that maybe lack that deep internal tech know-how, staff augmentation can bridge that gap, right?
Exactly.
You have options there. But our sources seem to highlight the benefits of a, say, 3 to 6 month minimum lock-in commitment over those super flexible monthly contracts. Why is that continuity so critical for a project like implementing Horizontal Fusion?
Yeah, that minimum lock-in, it guarantees continuity, allows our specialist SS experts, database architects, to integrate deeply with your team, understand your context, not just parachute in for a few weeks. It also means committed rates, which provides tangible cost savings and predictability. And importantly, it reduces disruption from the kind of turnover you often see with very short-term contracts. That predictability is critical for realizing the ROI on complex analytics projects. And of course, underlying all this, we strictly adhere to Australian standards for security data encryption compliance. That makes us a secure choice.
Okay, so talking about risk mitigation, predictability, skipping that initial discovery call seems like it would be a massive risk then.
Oh, absolutely.
It seems like it forces the client right back into the exact financial uncertainty they're trying to escape.
Exactly right. If you skip discovery, you basically default back to what we call indicative pricing. And that historically leads to precisely the kind of budget blowouts everyone's trying to avoid. Discovery calls are absolutely vital. They let us map out the decision points, the real requirements, before any serious development starts. We typically start with an initial alignment session, maybe 15-30 minutes, just to understand the triggers for change. Then we move to a deep dive, focusing on specialized needs like SSAS, maybe horizontal fusion integration. And only then do we move to mapping out the exact path forward with custom recommendations.
And this approach, this leads directly to a much more palatable pricing model for executives, I imagine. Getting away from those pitfalls of indicative pricing.
Excellent.
Those kind of worthless guesses based on assumptions, rounded up to big time frames like days or weeks.
Indicative pricing, yeah, it just ignores the technical nuance. It rounds costs up. Oh, that's about 5-7 weeks work. Discovery-based pricing, our approach, refines costs down to the nearest hour. It provides real precision.
Can you give an example of how that works financially?
Sure. Look at the financial advantage of staging the solution. For instance, stage 1 might focus purely on implementing horizontal fusion. Let's say that's estimated at 40 hours, costing around $8,000. That relatively rapid implementation yields immediate result. Maybe you get 30% faster reports straight away.
Okay.
That efficiency gain could potentially save enough operational costs to actually fund stage 2, maybe the later, more complex DAX enhancements, without needing to dip into significant extra capital up front. It's this strategic staged approach that maximizes value and avoids those horrible financial surprises that might have plagued past IT projects.
So wrapping this up, what does this all really mean for you, the listener? Well, SQL Server 2025, particularly powered by Horizontal Fusion and these significant DAX upgrades, it genuinely offers optimized performance and AI-driven insights. It looks like the clear, potentially profitable path to finally conquering those operational challenges we see so often in the Australian market.
And C9 is the partner ready to help you realize this potential. We really do adhere to that philosophy mentioned in our source material. We make things run as smooth as nature. Our nature is effortless technology. So we'd urge you, schedule a free discovery call with C9 today. Let's chart your course to efficiency, to drastically reduce costs, and ultimately to soaring profits.
Yeah, you can find us and learn a lot more about our custom solutions, our database development, integration expertise, all of it, at www.c9.com.au.
And maybe a final provocative thought for you to consider, something pulled directly from our source analysis. Think about your own business right now. Which single data silo, if you could break it today using the power of something like horizontal fusion, which one would yield the most immediate, the most measurable competitive advantage? That question, that's really where your analytical journey should probably begin.
That's a really compelling question to leave people with. Remember, if you found this useful, please click that follow button and do share this deep dive with other executives and business owners who you think could benefit from this knowledge. We'll catch you on the next one.